Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m., July 2nd. Yesterday was quite an interesting day, right? So, I look at my internals every day. That's my bread and butter. That's how I judge what the market's capable every day. And if you're in my Discord, you'll know what I'm saying because I update that constantly. Yesterday, I can't remember a time that I seen the markets this divergent. So the QQQ, or NASDAQ NQ futures, was relatively weak, right? But the rest of the market was strong, right? So the equal weight, I'm going to show you this in a little bit. The equal weight in my internals, I'll just show you real quickly. This white line, right? You see how divergent that is from the market cap weight. So market cap weight, these bars are how our market moves, right? Based on all these weights up here in sectors. So this is the more powerful thing I follow is the bars, right? But the equal weight, the white line, was so much stronger and barely only had one dip, and it was so strong. Financials, consumer discretionary, healthcare, staples got love. So what I was talking about in my Discord, I said this is probably bullish for the market, right? Most likely what happened is people took profits in tech. Money rotated a little bit into sectors that were getting no love, like healthcare and staples. Now, this was a chance possibly to buy a little dip. So I feel like because the overall breadth on the market was not good. It's just that the market cap weighted stocks pushed the market higher because that's how the market works. All right, so I feel this is overall bullish. And generally, seasonally, July is a bullish month. Okay. Then we see some weakness August, September, October, and then you get the Santa Claus, right? That's generally how seasonality works. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's what I base all my setups off of. All right, along with anchor VWAPs. And then once the market opens, I use my market internals like I just showed you. Okay, now hopefully you join me every morning. Have a cup of coffee, water, tea, whatever your beverage choice is. And I give you the market story and why the market's doing what it's doing. That's why I started it off explaining what happened yesterday. Okay, and I had a nice trade yesterday as well. Okay, capitalizing on what I saw and how important my internals are. All right, and gamma levels. And I'll get into that in a little bit as well. Okay. Now, if you want to see these updates, right, that I'm talking about in my Discord, right, in my Discord, I'm just going to give you a little brief preview of what I was saying yesterday, okay? So here's my Discord, Confluence Trading. So right off the bat at 9:44, I said ticks for NQ and NYSE divergent, right? If you just look at these ticks, red ticks in the NASDAQ exchange, green in the NYSE. There's a divergence there, right? And the internals were pretty much close to parity, okay? So here's the sectors which drive in the market. Staples was leading at this moment. Tech was weak, okay? So I said that, right? Talked about a couple other things. Powell was talking, right? And then I basically said NQ and ES are divergent, makes PA tricky, price action. Internals are over zero. However, equal weight is stronger than the market cap weight. This is a feather in the cap for bears, especially with the weakness in semis and tech. They are not super weak, just a data point. NQ is near lows and ES is at the mid of today. ES did reject from supply. I am going to wait until markets sync up a little. I'm leaning towards a short here, not a high conviction right now. Okay. Basically, I continue to say this crucial level, and then Nvidia 152.5. This is the gamma level. It's a gamma flip point for this week, 152.5. That was a very important level for me to watch. I said here, I said Nvidia gamma flip point 152.5. This is a crucial level. This will decide if I want to go long in SPY or not. Just watching for now, right? Then I decided to go long. The reason I decided to go long was the Nasdaq sold off so much to a key level that I thought that was gone. The selling was gone, and then I decided to go long with Nvidia holding 152.5. Okay, so this is all the stuff I update in my Discord. Okay, so if you want to get that information every day, all right, feel free to join Confluence Trading, my Discord. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and that will direct you to my Discord. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I give you why the market does what it does every day. You don't have to trade with me, but it's a good way to look at context, the story of what the market's, why the market's doing what it's capable of. It's very powerful. All right, I'm never really wrong on reading the market, so use me like an indicator. All right, you don't have to trade like me. Use me like an indicator. All right, now let's move over to futures. Let's see what's moving these markets. Yesterday was actually pretty decent range and volume. It was pretty nice. I mean, the Senate also passed the bill. J.D. Vance was a tiebreaker vote. That's what's going on. Then I was in my trade, in my long, took some off, and then all of a sudden Trump mentioned about Japan and tariffs, and then that sent the market down a little bit, but then it recovered. All right. Now, Ethereum is leading the pack, up 1.57%. The VIX is up 1.25%. Crude's up 1.18%. 10-year yield's getting some love today, up 0.59. Russell's up 0.31. Silver's up 0.16. Gold up 0.16. All right. Dollar. The dollar is up 0.10. Dow is up 0.08. ES flat. Nasdaq down 0.11. Bitcoin down 0.27. 30-year bonds being sold. All right. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus here. Coinbase up 1.72, followed by Apple. Apple had to actually upgrade yesterday as well, up 1.41. Apple's kind of been weak, but it's been getting some love again. Tesla up 0.58. All right, they just found that they had some better selling in China. Now, lagging, we got AMD down 0.48, Microsoft down 0.49. Nvidia is the laggard, down 0.91. Now remember, Nvidia hit an all-time high, pulled back to that gamma flip point that I showed you. Okay, now to note, let's check out the top sectors here. What I just look at here. Now you have oil stocks, Chevron, your Exxon up. PepsiCo is really pushing. If you look at a chart of PepsiCo, it was basing for a long time and it ripped up. For Staples, that's a large holding in Staples. All right, now lagging is United Healthcare. That had a big day yesterday, United Healthcare. Okay, that's been getting smoked. I don't know why right now it's down a little bit, maybe a little profit taking. All right, sectors. Let's look at it. Energy. Energy is up 0.87%. Right. Followed by financials up 0.25, followed by basic materials, and then the lagging sectors, technology down 0.11, healthcare down 0.16 because you know healthcare, and semis are risk off again, down 0.43. Not down a lot, but that's what's going on under the hood. Okay, under the hood. Now, we just had ADP come out at 8:15. I don't see the market going crazy. So let's just check out the economic calendar because that data dropped today. That was really the data that I was looking at for today. So give me 1 second here while I pull that up. So ADP employment change. Let's see. Consensus 95. Wow, that's a big miss. Negative 33,000. Woof. Now the market's not going nuts over it, but that's a miss. Okay, curious. Remember, we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment tomorrow, and we only have a half day tomorrow. All right, so that's what's going on there. Let's just see if there's any upgrade, downgrade. There we go. Who got upgraded today? Altair Group. Ross Stores downgrades. Let's just look at them real quick. See if any of these make sense here. Adobe got downgraded to a sell. Stellantis downgraded to underperform. Okay, so that's what's going on there. More news. Paramount settles with Trump over 60 Minutes interview for $16 million. It says Intel's new CEO explores big shift in chip manufacturing business. Intel's new chief executive is exploring a big change to its contract manufacturing business to win major customers. Two people familiar with the matter told Reuters it's a potentially expensive shift from its predecessor's plans. Biggest U.S. banks hike dividends, announced share buybacks after acing stress tests. Tesla's June China-made EV sales see first rise in 9 months, but quarterly fall continues. Corona beer maker Constellation Brands misses quarterly estimates amid tariff woes. I just want to see if there's anything else here. Tesla, no. Here we go. Amazon, Jeffrey raises target price to 255 from 250. Apple, Jeffrey raises rating to hold from underperform, anticipating tariff-driven pull in demand and share recovery in China to contribute to EPS growth. Meta, Bard raises target price to 740 from 635. Netflix raises target price to 1525 from 1380. All right. I think the juice doesn't have much for us. Oh, wait a minute. All right. It says traders add to wagers on at least 2 Fed rate cuts by end 2025. Okay. All right. We're going to go to breadth chart. And this is it's a good indication of the breadth. Okay. What I like to look at here. And what this is the percentage of stocks in the S&P 500 that are over their 20-day simple moving average. Now, because the breadth yesterday, the overall market, okay, you have to understand S&P 500 is 500 stocks. The NASDAQ 100 QQQ is only 100 stocks. I want to say there's close to 5,000 or close to 6,000 stocks in the NYSE exchange and the NASDAQ exchange. That's a lot of stocks, right? So the S&P 500 is your broader index to look at other than the NASDAQ or the Dow is only 30 stocks, right? 82% now are over their 20-day simple moving average. Look at that bar from yesterday, okay? That's because a lot of stocks in the overall market ripped higher yesterday. Now, frothy levels in the 90s, in the high 80s here. Generally, when you get up here, you usually take a dip in the market. You can see the SPX here. You take a dip. Come up here, look here, you take a little dip. You come up here, you take a dip. Right? We just literally went up. Okay? Morning, Chief. So, take a note of this. 82% of the S&P 500 is over the 20-day simple moving average. Very frothy. And that doesn't mean we fall. Doesn't mean that. It just means that, okay, now the overall market is getting into gear. That's why I said it's overall when those leaker sectors got love yesterday, I think that's overall bullish for the month of July. Okay, take a little dip in NASDAQ. The tech takes a little dip. This could be a buy the dip. And then we go and we get a nice catch a bid for July. And then obviously seasonality works that way. Now I know we have tariff deadline coming up. Okay. So that's just something to look at. All right. Now the bullish percent index here for the NYSE, which is the overall, you can see got a nice push up yesterday. So now 63% of stocks on buy signals. It was middling in the middle. That made it move up. Okay. Now let's get right into daily charts here. All right, and we're going to start off. With looking at a daily chart of the RSP. Okay. So today we start off with the daily chart of the RSP. So RSP is equal weighted ETF. So it doesn't move with market cap weight. It only, everything's equal. Okay? Look at the bar, the daily bar yesterday. Look at that move. That's why I said, if we're looking at my internals here, that equal weight was so strong. Okay, the equal weight was so strong. You could even see the NYSE exchange had it 2-to-1 buying versus selling going into up stocks was 2.2-to-1. Okay, so that's a pretty nice candle on RSP, right? How do you think the NASDAQ looked yesterday? A red bar or a black bar. See what I'm saying? That's the divergence from yesterday. Look at the SPY, right? Hold on a second, let me move this over. The SPY basically was unchanged, pretty much closed by the previous day's close. Doji bar, and then another kind of middling bar. Now remember, NASDAQ 100 is very powerful, very powerful. Okay, so if you look at the internals here, remember, Infotech is the largest market cap weighted sector in the S&P 500. It's 33%. That is huge. Okay, so the market generally goes where that goes. So it's generally a day like this usually takes down the market, but the rest of the market was so strong. Okay, so it was Infotech and communications were weak yesterday, but the rest of the market was strong. Okay, so just wanted to show you that difference. Okay, that difference. All right. Now we closed in the SPY at 617.65. 617.65. We are right now at 617.30. Okay, we are right. What did I say? 617.30. We're right here by the close. Pretty much unchanged still in pre-market. Okay, pretty much unchanged from pre-market. Maybe I can put a little down uptrend line here. Let's see here. There we go. Look at that. Lines up perfectly. It's amazing how these trend lines just happen to just whoop. Okay. Let's look at futures. Let's look at futures. Get a better view of this morning's action. Look at that garbage. Look at that. Pretty much nothing's happening. Look at that bar. Went all the way up. Now we're here where we closed yesterday. So holding above last week's highs. But definitely summer, right? But yesterday was pretty nice to trade. So now we'll go to the Qs. We know we just looked at it. It was definitely weak. Definitely weak, right? Closed under last week's highs. That's last month's highs, right? Definitely saw weakness. Right now, we're at 545.90 right now. 545.90. That's 545.90. We're at the lows, near the lows of yesterday. Okay, near the lows of yesterday. Let's look at those futures. So you can see the difference in the NASDAQ. Okay, pretty much at the lows of these candles these days. Okay, hasn't hit the 90 MA daily yet. All right, but you needed this. Right, tech was just getting crazy. All right, people probably took profits. Now, do they get bought up? That is the question. Right, that is the question. All right, now we're going to get right into the triple-headed monster here. We're going to go into that bond market. That bond market's getting sold, meaning bought, because this is the inverse. This is the yields. So yields have been going lower. You're catching a bid a little bit. Let's see what really happens with this. We're hitting that 2024 anchor VWAP. Can we go right back into the middle of this mess? Maybe. Maybe. Right? We do have this downtrend going. Right? Now let's look at the dollar. Dollar's been getting beaten up. Remember I said I think that's waiting for some kind of rally. Here, you're right here. That's last week's lows. this is kind of poor structure right here. I just uniformly just went down. So I could see a nice rip roaring rally here, right? We'll have to see. I know I've been saying that, so we'll have to see. Here's your fear, which is not much right now. We're just kind of chilling in between 17 and 16 right now. That's 30 days out. Still a 1% expected move in the S&P 500, one plus or minus one. Okay. Now let's go to that hourly chart. Do some hourly, hourly chart analysis here. Yeah, let's do it. All right, so let me get my marker out. Okay, so we hit supply in the overnight right here. You hit supply, kind of double topped here, and hourly candles. You couldn't find acceptance over last month's highs, which is 62, 65, 50. Okay, you have this trend that just got broken. Okay, you have a demand zone that just got taken out. This one right here. All right, and you can see the most traded price of the week, 62.36, I believe, is right here. That's the level you got to watch. Okay, that's the level. Can the market be supportive? Right? Now, I have an anchored VWAP from when this market ripped down, ripped up from this. So buyers from this candle, you can see supportive, still supportive, supportive, and now guess where we're at? Right here. So it kind of lines up with what? The most traded price of the week. Okay, so this tells me the average buyer is getting paid. If this gets taken out and we start falling, the guys are underwater. Okay, so this area obviously becomes a big support level. Starting at, like, let's just call it 62.20. 62.20. All right, now just to show you this high volume node, and it's the most traded price of the week, but be honest with you, it's a high volume node. Whoa, 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 whoa. Market's pulling back here. Now, if I show you this, you can see this is a high volume node from the past as well. Remember, in futures, we didn't hit the all-time highs yet in ES. Okay, so if I go to, let's say, a 4-hour chart, that doesn't even really help me. Let's go to a 6-hour chart. Just give me a sec here. Okay. Just want to show you where that volume is coming from that's causing problems. It's coming from here. Okay. If we go in the past, look how many times we traded up here, right? That's why you have that big spike from the past. But now it's becoming a heavily traded price again. Okay? So that's just why that's there and why we're having issues at that level. Okay? Right here. Okay, that's why we're having issues at that level. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Breaking this trend. Like I said, we're getting bought up around the 62.20, 62.27. Have to see. This is last week's highs right there. So interesting. We'll just have to see what transpires here. All right. Moving on to the NASDAQ. You can see a difference in the charts here. Look at that. Look at that. ES in an uptrend, NASDAQ in a downtrend. Okay. Some people can call this a double top here, right up here. Okay. So if we look at the NASDAQ, okay, obviously We held this downtrend. Okay. We came in yesterday to this support level right here, and we bounced. We bounced from the support. Okay. This candle here, we had large buying. We broke out. Now, this anchored VWAP has not been tested yet. So remember, that's the average buyer from that point. It's right here. Does that catch a bid when it hits it? I don't know. Let me make sure that this is okay. So we'll have to see. We're back at that support level. There's another demand zone here with this, so I'm going to be watching that. That's at let's see, about 225.62. That anchored view up. I'm going to be watching that. Okay, because if you break this support, 226, let's call it, you should get tested down here. Okay, you should get tested. All right. So that's your Nasdaq hourly chart, and let's move on. Let me change the workspace real quick. And we'll go over to the futures analysis. Okay. It's just crazy, the divergence between the two. Really crazy. So let's go to your market profile and volume profile analysis. All right. So let's look at the volume profile. This has a bullish balance to it. Okay, so you have excess to the bottom, value areas up here, and a little bit of excess from the overnight. Okay, little bit of excess. So highs up here in the overnights are usually not secure. They usually don't have a high like this in the overnight without RTH going back. So price is right here, 62.43. Okay. Now if you want to recap from yesterday, let's just open it up. Okay. So we opened up here. All right. Came up, sold off, pushed back, and then I got long like in here. And then I rode that up to about here, had a stop loss around here. Okay, so the market really got into groove, after a little bit. Okay. Now you have a little tail here, right? And the important level, we're at it right now. There's a lot of confluence here. Most traded price of the week is right here. What does that encompass? That price is 62.37. That is last week's highs, right? Most traded price of the week. Overnight lows. Also value area low from yesterday. So this needs to hold. Okay. Next, you have this 62.27 support with this demand zone here. Remember, we came into this yesterday and found support right here. This breaks, we could definitely move lower. Okay. Then we have this supply zone overhead. So came up here in the overnight into the supply. So right now, price is in the middle, close to the middle of yesterday's session. Okay. Not the best location. Not the best location. Okay. So this is what I'm going to be looking at as far as how we play this. Okay. Now, we do have a big demand zone down here. And you can see there's kind of like a pocket here. Not a lot of volume transpired in here. Okay, so who knows? Like I said, if the other sectors get strong, it's going to have a hard time pushing the SPY or the ES lower. All right. Now, let's get right into scenarios here. And I'm going to start with the bull side. Okay. So we're at the overnight lows right now. We're at that key level right now. Okay. So if I'm a bull, what do I want to see? Fall into this level. If you cannot find acceptance above it and you rip through it, hold. I'm going to get long and try to take out this overnight high, 62.70. Take out that overnight high. I'm going to try to go for all-time highs. Remember, in ES futures, you have not made all-time highs yet. Okay. Number two, you break through down here quickly. Take out these lows, 62.27s. Okay. You go into this demand. Okay, and see if this can hold. So if we do something like this, lower high, get long, break above this most traded price of the week, and just start taking, going back up. Okay. That's what I'd be looking for today. Now, I like that we're here because I want to really see if the market opens up and it's not that weak by looking at my internals. Okay. Now remember, I don't want to see tech that weak off the open. Okay, so it's very important. I'm going to watch. I'm going to be patient. Okay. Now let's go to the short side. Short side here. Bear side. Price is here. Have a tail here. So we got some single prints here working off some stuff. Okay. So if I'm bearish, okay, what do I want to see? Now we could open up right here. And what I would like to see is a push down, a failure to get acceptance above this level, failure come through here, take out this support, 62.27s, find the end of this demand, right, around 62.16, about 62.17, and see if we can rip and hold, and maybe go down. Okay. Obviously, we could also just rip lower, hold, go down as well. That's really what I'd be interested in as far as shorts. Yes, can we rip all the way up here into the supply like this? And let's say the market just falls back. That could happen too. But I would be more apt to take these, right? And that's if the market complies, right? Because staples and healthcare have gotten money flows into them yesterday. Now, healthcare is falling because United Healthcare this morning had a big monster day yesterday. But we have to see. Once the market opens, it's a different story. All right, let's move over to the NASDAQ. Our relatively weaker NASDAQ. Now look, the NASDAQ right now, as we speak, let's look at the profile. Rolling profile. It's kind of a balanced profile. Look at this. You got distribution here, and then some excess, right? Fairly balanced, right? Fairly balanced. Now, right now, we're literally at yesterday's lows in the NASDAQ. Got a nice little tail. Now you can see the support that's been here, right? Got a big demand zone we just hit into. So I'm going to take off this demand. And we just hit this demand and see the little buying that came in already, right? So we already have key levels to look at, okay? Obviously, this 226 in demand is key. It's an untested demand zone. And we have some tails. We have some single prints, right, as we're speaking, right here, single prints, okay? The question is how deep do we go into this demand zone, right? Now, if people are FOMOing and going, oh man, this is my opportunity, I missed this ramp up, possibly money can come flowing back into tech. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, but what I can already see something that is interesting is Apple is catching a bid today, and like Nvidia, AMD, Meta, Amazon is not. So that's going to cause a conflict as well, right? So we just have to see. We just have to see. Okay, so we know we have a key 2226 level with demand down here. Okay, we do have that. Catching a bid a little bit right now, right? So we have our most traded price of the week. That is our 22820. This is what failed yesterday. This is what failed yesterday. I put in my Discord about that level. I said acceptance below this level is bearish. And then that's what just transpired, okay? Let's open this up. Okay. I forgot to do that in the ES. My apologies. All right, so we have supply, and we probably have another supply zone here. So what I'm going to look at is probably here. So that encompasses yesterday's most traded price, the close, and this selling right here. That just happened, okay? Now we have another supply zone right here. You can see it. Okay, this actually has the month and day VWAP, week to day VWAP in it. All right, and then you have up here. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be looking at. I can probably get rid of this. Okay. All right. So let's just get right into scenarios, not to waste anybody's time here. Now, remember, tricky market when the markets are disconnected. I have to wait more to make the story unfold during the day. I have to wait more. When markets are disconnected, I usually wait until they get more in sync, because then you'll get a smoother move. Okay, but look at this support here. Here's here. If anybody's going to take profit, is shorts right now, and just see what they can do. All right, so right off the bat, I'm going to start. Let's get right into it. I don't know if I put this up yet or not. I'm going to do it again. All right, we're going to go right into the bull case. Okay, so we came into a support area, into a demand zone that's been untested. We're getting a bounce already. Okay, so what would I want to see? If we opened up here, I would love to see a little push up, a push back, get those bears trapped into this demand zone, do some lower highs, really make your move into this area. Okay, if you take out that area, that's the most traded price of yesterday, and hold it, you're going to try to break those overnight highs and go back to the most traded price of the week, 22820. Okay, now this move could be deeper as well. You could really push to the end of this demand, get some love, and I don't think we go all the way back up there. We probably only go to here. Now this one, I need to see the market not be that weak. This one is a quick one. That could happen earlier. Okay, we just came into a key support level and we're catching a bid. Now, it doesn't mean we can't go down. That's what I'm looking for. All right, now all right, sorry about that. My family just came in, cost someone a car. All right, so let's go to bear side. Okay, what I want to see is a push up into here, hit that most traded price of yesterday, and the most traded price of the overnight happens to be. Okay, failure here, lower highs, and then try to take out this support, targeting the end of this demand. Okay, You can also come all the way up to this supply zone as well. Maybe tap the overnight highs and fall as well. Okay. Even this could be in play as well. This would mean a more stronger market though, so I'm not in love with it. You could fail into this supply again at the most traded price of the week and fall, but I don't think you fall that much. Okay. That's what I'm looking for on the short side. Okay, so that's the analysis for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Smash the like button if you did. That would mean a lot to me, help my channel. All right, and as always, join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. I give you the market story, why the market's doing what it's doing, the leaders and the laggards, the market news, the economic calendar, all that jazz into a bunch of TA. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that. Now, if you'd like to join me today and get my live commentary, please join Confluence Trading, my Discord. Go to my YouTube homepage, sign up, and you'll get my commentary. Okay, and ask me questions. All right, ask me questions. I know sometimes I talk about some stuff that might be advanced, but I'm always happy to answer questions. Now we have our plan. Okay, let's follow it. Once the market opens up, it's a new stuff I'm seeing. New plans might form because of the internals, and you'll see those plans on my Discord. All right, everybody, have a great day. If you don't see me in my Discord, but if I see you in my Discord, say hi, and let's talk. Let's communicate. All right.